In today's video, I'm going to give you 6 fragrances that I'm really enjoying this year for the wintertime. These fragrances consist of all kinds of notes from oils to tobacco. So if you think you're going to find that interesting, stay tuned. Hello everyone, I'm Max. If this is your first time watching this channel, I do fragrance reviews weekly and I try to mix it up on different fragrances that I present to you guys. So if you think you're gonna find that interesting, go ahead and check your boy out. Now to me, winter fragrances consist of a lot of fragrances that are kind of heavy because you want something to cut through the cold. You want something to be thick. So think of a winter fragrance like a coat. You want it to be heavy, thick, something that's gonna last throughout the day so people can smell you. So in today's video, I'm gonna give you 6 of these fragrances consisting of all kinds of notes. So let's get this list started. Now the first fragrance on this list, I wasn't sure about it when I first received it. Now I really enjoy it. I wore it last week. It's a very nice gourmand fragrance that's gonna cut through that wind. And the fragrance I'm talking about is from the House of Georgioff, and that's Tony Iommi Monkey Special. Now this is one of those fragrances I personally think is unisex. I think it's very sexy and that a woman probably could pull it off, but it leans a little bit more masculine. Now right away you're gonna get this boozy rum accord, followed by a juicy tropical passion fruit, and that's pretty much gonna last throughout the fragrance. Then you begin to get some cinnamon spice in the heart that making it very spicy. And you get a little touch of patchouli that sits in the background, but it is kind of earthy, but it's not overwhelming. Then you begin to pick up on some caramel that act like a thick sweetness. Now I'm gonna tell you about this base. This base don't have any oud in it, but the notes combined kind of give you an oud feel. Not the skanky part of it, but like that more animalic, damp wood part of it. That's making it very powerful, very ambery, very resinous. Then you're gonna get some gourmand notes of tonka that add some nuttiness to it. You're gonna get some sweetness from vanilla. It's a very nice fragrance that's sweet, it's fruity, it's woody, and it's more of in the gourmand territory. So if you think you're gonna like that, you might want to check out the fragrance from Georgioff, Tony Iommi Monkey Special. Very nice gourmand with some woody aspects to it. One I think you will enjoy. Check it out. Now this next fragrance, to me, I think it might be controversial in a lot of people's eyes, but at the same time, a lot of people love this fragrance because you get a lot of notes that's combined, gonna give you a very different take on fragrances. And the fragrance that I'm talking about is coming from the House of Mancera, and that's red tobacco. Now right away, you're getting a heavy blast of cinnamon. You're getting a woody note of oud. So the opening is very woody, very spicy. You also begin to get some saffron that making it warm, making it spicy, almost bitter. Then you get some nutmeg that making it nutty. Then you begin to get some patchouli that kind of give it like a vibe of semi-earthy, semi-woody. Then in the base you get this tobacco. Just imagine a red pipe tobacco that giving you like almost like a cherry vibe. You getting sweetness from vanilla. You get some spices from amber, and you also getting like this guide wood that making it deep, making it very dry. So just think of pipe tobacco with a lot of spices, with a lot of sweetness, making this fragrance spicy, sweet, woody, and very smoky. A fragrance that a lot of people in the community love, and I love it also, but some might find it kind of strange, but check it out for yourself. I love it, a lot of other people love it, and that's red tobacco from Mancera. Now this next fragrance coming up, I personally haven't seen I haven't seen not too many reviews on it, but to me, I love it. But you're gonna have to love oud-based fragrances that actually smell like real oud, but at the same time, you get some gourmand notes to it. And the fragrance that I'm talking about is coming from the House of Valentino Noir Oud Absolute. But warning, you're gonna have to love oud to like this fragrance, but to me, it's more going on than just oud. Now right away you get a heavy dose of sandalwood. It's pretty much gonna last throughout the fragrance. Now the note breakdown doesn't say anything about oud, but to me, it actually smells like real oud. It's like 4 notes in it. You're getting that sandalwood that making it nutty, making it creamy. You're also getting a spicy saffron. Now this saffron sits way in the background, but you really don't get a lot of it. So the top is very woody. Then you begin to get that myrtle that making it powdery, slightly sweet, almost like it's a chocolate note in here. Then along comes that cedar that making it very dry. So this is very woody, very spicy, and it's kind of like a gourmand in a way because you're getting some chocolate notes, but just imagine chocolate, woods, and spices, making it woody, resinous, and slightly gourmand. One I enjoy, but you really gonna have to love oud to like this fragrance, and that's coming from the House of Valentino, Nor Oud Absolute. The next fragrance coming up is a fragrance from the House of Montel. It's also another fragrance that don't get talked about and really deserves some love because to me, it's a very unique fragrance. I think it's unisex where both man and woman could wear it, but go light on the trigger because this thing is strong. It's a beast mode performer. And the fragrance that I'm talking about coming from the House of Montel, and that is Oud Flowers. Trust me guys and ladies, this is a fragrance that's I think you would like. Now right away you getting this saffron, you getting bergamot, and to me they're gonna last throughout the fragrance. Now the saffron is not listed in the notes, but I do pick up on a heavy dose of saffron. Also in the opening you're picking up on a lot of woods that consist of teak wood and gaiac wood. When it approaches the heart, you begin to get a lot of florals. Now it lists rose and geranium, but I'm picking up more geranium than I am rose. I barely can detect the rose in it, but it's there. But I'm getting more geranium, that almost making it kind of aromatic. Then in the base, you picking up on some white musk, that making it slightly aromatic, but also at the same time while being clean, while being fresh. Also in the base, you're getting that ambergris. They're giving it like marine, more like an ambery, that's slightly salty, and a light touch of smoke, making this fragrance woody, spicy, earthy, and floral. One of my favorite Montels. I always rank it near the top of my list in my Montel list, but it's one nobody talk about that's very unique, very nice fragrance. I love it, and I think some of you out there will love it also. And that's Oud Flowers coming from the House of Montel. This next fragrance, it fits in the category of like pottery Irish fragrances, but it's something about it that I really love about this fragrance, and they kind of have a little uniqueness compared to the rest of the Irish-based fragrances. And the fragrance that I'm talking about is coming from the House of Giventi Gentleman. Now right away you're hit with some pepper, the added spice, you're getting a light touch of lavender. So the top is kind of floral, kind of peppery. Then you get more like an orris root. Now to me, the difference between orris and iris, orris is more of the root, so it's more earthy, less powdery, but you do get some powderiness. Then you're getting this vanilla, almost like an ice cream vanilla. And you're getting this earthy patchouli that's very light, but it is earthy, making this fragrance powdery, sweet, creamy, and slightly woody. A fragrance that I know you will enjoy for the wintertime, and that's Giventi Gentleman. The last fragrance on this list, to me, is a very unique fragrance also if you like cherry fragrances. Now cherry is not listed in the notes, but the notes in here give it like a cherry vibe to me, so it's very fruity. And the fragrance I'm talking about, L'Homme Idéal Parfum. If any of you have gotten your hands on any Ideal cologne, they do a nice almond note in it. It starts off with a dry, nutty almond, then that's when that cherry note come in. Like I said, it's not listed in the notes, but you are gonna get some cherry vibes. So if you like cherry fragrances, this is one to get. So after the almond and cherry settles in, that's when you begin to get some vanilla. Now the vanilla makes it creamy, makes it very sweet. You're gonna get some frankincense that give it like a slightly earthy, almost smoky vibe. Then you're left with leather, sandalwood, and tonka. Almost giving it like a cherry gourmand vibe that leaving it sweet, spicy, fruity, and it's a gourmand. And I think a lot of you will enjoy this fragrance, and that's L'Homme Idéal coming from the House of Guerlain. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up, checking your boy out. And until then, everybody stay safe, and I'll see everybody soon. Peace.